it's just one thing after another. But he's a friend of mine.
Sure. You don't get rid of friends. Yeah, just those two boots out there, they're brand new. Like they've only been out there. They're the same color leather as your boots. And they're the same ones he wears. So we're just curious of why his boots would be out there. Same size he wears. They've only been out there probably for a day or two.
This is James Brenner, a 60-year-old farmer living in Utah. The middle of nowhere in Utah. It's May 30th, 2022, and police just arrived at the property of James's neighbor, Dylan Rounds. 19-year-old Dylan mysteriously disappeared just 2 days before, and police are trying to figure out just what happened. They naturally start by talking with the man living on Dylan's property, James Brenner.
He might have threw him out.
Yeah, maybe he did. Well, does he know that's a dump out there? He does?
He's got electronics and shit in there. Like I say, he was here. He had to have been here. Brought the truck here.
Yeah. Huh, that would make sense. This van yours?
That's fine.
Can I look in it?
Guy already did.
Oh, did he?
Yeah,
Okay.
I wish you wouldn't, because I got mushrooms drying there, and every time you open the door with the wind blowing, they blow all over.
What kind of mushrooms?
Oh, they're not the kinds that get you high.
Dang.
They're the ones that I get down at the
Oh, yeah.
99 cents on sale.
Yeah.
And I love mushrooms in the wintertime. I can't get just dehydrated. And then when I just took hot water. And
That's pretty cool. Yeah, no, if they've already looked, I'm not going to open it. So, okay, well, they'll be here for a while to look around and see if...
he said his phone pinged. And I don't understand it. His phone pinged down there.
Well, 15.12 miles from Boise Tower. So, I mean... Yeah, so, I mean, but 15.12 miles can be a lot of places, right? You could draw a radius, and anywhere on that radius could be 15.12 miles. But this is his fuel truck, huh?
Yep.
He's buying it?
Yeah, he's buying it, and I think the fuel is... Well, let's go check. I don't know. Deal. Yeah, you can look in there.
I'm going to check that out right now.
He drinks natural light, too.
Don't tell his grandpa.
Conversation.
Alrighty. So Dylan got some new boots, I guess.
This is Dylan's father, Justin Rounds. Justin is suspicious about James and felt something was off about him before Dylan's disappearance.
That guy he's been working for. So he's saying that, like, that used to be a dump. And it's all, I guess it's buried in. He says Dylan's buried a lot of stuff out there. Do you know anything about that? Like electronics or something like that? Circuit boards?
He's up in there, all the places.
Right, so he said that Dylan knew that as a known dump. So what's Dylan's relationship with this place?
The Dan Iverson guy said he gave him a check and $30,021.
For the work he's doing?
Oh, well, he's doing it with his own machinery. My son is taking machinery.
Oh, okay. I was like, geez, I want to work for that
It's
guy.
not that he's making a lot of money, because he's buying his fuel and stuff, you know what
sure.
I mean? And buying the tractor and fuel, all that's
Sure.
not Dan's.
Right. Makes sense.
And he says, this Jim guy says that Dylan has been in town or whatever, bragging about how much money he makes and this and that. But I talked to, it doesn't really sound like something. But I've been around a lot of these, and I didn't think he drank either. There's stuff.
So this guy was saying that
Drinking might change how he talks, you know what I mean? So
Right.
I don't know, I'm not saying, but Dan said that doesn't sound at all good. Like, I just want to shut to me straight, whatever happens.
I have, yeah, we'll tell you. As much as we can tell you, right? I mean, so. if it turns into a big investigation, we can't just, because we might not know all the answers. And if I tell you, you know what I mean? If I tell you something, then it turns out to be something else.
So on my way back from Vegas, got a call in Fillmore, Utah. My ex-wife wanted to talk to me, my daughter, my heart's right then. Not even, because I never talked to her.
You never talked to her.
We don't have a relationship. You know what I mean?
Sure.
So right then my heart sunk, you know what I mean? Like I thought my youngest would get the car back or something weird because she don't talk to me.
Despite the lack of evidence leading to any clues about Dylan's location, Justin was adamant about solving whatever happened to his son, marking the start of Justin Round's multi-week search to find Dylan. Just hours after the previous body cam footage, Justin decides to take things into his own hands and talk to James himself. Here, James would point his finger at a man named Ty Corbin and claimed if anyone knew where Dylan went, it would be him. So with this new information, Justin would give Ty a call.
This is Justin Rounds, Dylan's dad. I talked to a guy named James. He said to call you.
Yes, sir. Let me go inside really quick.
Okay.
Are you by yourself, Mr. Rounds?
I've got one of my good buddies here that I've known since I was a kid.
Okay. You're not around the Wadsworths at all, correct?
No, I'm not. Not even close.
Okay. I've lived in that area. I remember when the Wadsworths come to town. First off, I want to tell you that I feel for you. I'm sorry your son's missing. I really am.
Yeah.
I believe the Wadsworths are involved.
Okay.
By everything I've read and seen, I'm pretty sure it has to be someone that knows him.
Yes.
It's someone that knows that Lucien area really well.
Yes.
It's someone that knows Montello really well.
Yes.
And the only person that fits that profile is Kurt. And between you and I, I'm not trying to offend you, but it's kind of common knowledge that Kurt and your son were living at the saddle store in that side room and in the back trailer for about the last year and a half, off and on. Not all the time, but off and on.
Okay.
Kurt knows. I would ask Kurt to go in and take a lie detector test.
Okay.
I don't search that area out in Lucien. He knows that Lucien area very well. He used to farm out there with a guy named Ed Harshberger.
Yep.
And another farm out there that he's worked on was from Kurt Robertson. So he knows that area really well.
Okay.
And if those boots were found out there, he put them there. I don't know if you're familiar with Kurt's kind of a conspiracy theorist guy.
No, I kind of.
I don't know if you're familiar with that Pilates 411 missing things, but it always says they find boots or clothes nicely folded. No explanation. This is what I think happened, and I hope this stays between you and I. Those guys for the last few weeks have been running around trying to catch people thieving like Chase. Another person that they were trying to catch was Robert Avilas.
Yep.
The Lee boys, Robert and Toby Lee.
Yeah. And
those guys are all rip-offs, there's no doubt about it.
Yeah.
But they've been packing guns with them and drunk, and I think that it's more apt that they were out doing that and had an accidental discharge of some sort inside your son's vehicle. And then your son being out at Lucien and somebody walking up on him and being able to harm him. You can see people at Lucien coming from 4 miles away.
Oh, yeah. I'm familiar with that.
And just that the whole ground was power washed and everything. Kurt was the only person I knew in that whole area that had a power washer, and I'm sure he brought it out to your son's place.
My son had a power washer out there.
Okay. I didn't know that, but they had a power washer right next to the Cowboy Bar for a long time, too.
Okay.
Kurt is very familiar with that area. This smells of them. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But I'm trying to help you. I really feel for you. I'm sorry that this happened.
Yeah.
Don't expect anything from the Elko County Sheriffs. We've had people hurt out there, people shot. I could tell you a story about a girl we found 50 yards outside of town. She was murdered and they didn't do a thing about it.
That's what I hear.
According to Ty, a man named Kurt Wadsworth had to be responsible for the disappearance of Dylan. He would go on to claim that Kurt was known to have groomed children in the past, and that local residents in the town had seen Kurt wearing lipstick at a bar. This would officially mark the first potential suspect associated with this case. Keep in mind, at this point, it's unknown if Dylan is alive or deceased. These claims by Ty are simply theories at this point and are not backed by concrete evidence.
Everybody has these preconceived notions of what you are.
Multiple detectives, probably 10 or more, and FBI folks. Yeah, I talk to people that matter, but, it sucks to be slandered by a bunch of people that don't know shit, so whatever.
How did you see Dylan? Like, how did you view him, like, as a person?
I just a hardworking young kid that had a dream, and I wanted, he asked me to be involved in it, and I just there was a backhoe operators all in the beginning. I just wanted to go out there to dig a 1,400 feet of main line and put the line in and backfill it, and I was supposed to be out of there. It just went on since I started last March.
He would sleep in this camper sometimes, like when he didn't want to go home, but not with you. No, we were never staying there together. I wouldn't want to stay there with him. It's too tight.
Following Justin's call with Ty, another potential suspect would be named, Chase Venstra. Chase was a known drug addict and criminal of their town, Montello. A rumor around town began circulating that Chase, as well as another known criminal, Robert Aviles, may have kidnapped Dylan. Phone records show Dylan and Chase were together in the desert the day Dylan went missing, and coincidentally, it was Dylan's first time meeting Chase. Unfortunately, Chase was nowhere to be found.
It's like I said, nobody's in trouble. We're just trying to find this kid.
Do you guys know Chase?
We know Avi. He steals.
Yeah, that's what we.
What about Dylan? Do you guys know Dylan at all?
Never heard of him.
Chase.
Yeah.
So Chase is out on that ranch out there. Is that what you're saying?
Somewhere out there.
Okay.
Because he was supposed to be in Idaho, and somebody seen him out there.
Okay, how long ago do you know?
About a week now.
Okay.
Wasn't it when, because they was looking for Robert Avila.
What does Chase drive? Do you guys know?
Last I seen he was driving a motorhome.
Yeah.
What did it look like? Was it like the size of that, or was it a great big one?
About the size of that, yeah.
About the size of that there?
Toyota on the side.
Okay.
And there's a place before you get to the ranch that has got trees around it. We used to call it the Kramers. I don't know what they call it now, but there's electric and everything out there.
All right, well, we'll run out there. Anything we need to know about either? Well, you don't know Dylan, obviously, but Chase. Other than he's a little thief.
He threatens if the cops come after him, he's going to have a shootout.
Did he steal the guns?
I don't know. That's just what I've heard.
Yeah. Does he use drugs?
Probably, because people he hung around with before. And if anybody in town really knows where he'd be, it'd be at the Cowboy.
So we just came from there.
Okay, or out at Paul's Ranch, Paul's place outside of town.
Is that the one with all the cars and everything around it?
Yeah.
That all the junk?
That's where Chase would be?
That's who he used to hang around with.
Does he use drugs, Paul?
Probably.
Okay.
I know he drinks a lot, so.
Okay.
Well, you guys just be careful.
Yeah.
We'll go do our thing, and you guys just be safe.
Yep. We're just looking around for him. So.
You're here.
No, that's good. I'm sure that most people probably know if we stopped at the bar.
With police having difficulty tracking Chase down, Justin wants to go to Robert Aviles' house under suspicion Chase could be living with them. Justin would need a search warrant to search around Robert's property, so he would call the police to help further investigate.
All right, guys. So this is the family.
Yes.
Okay. So tell me again what you have suspicion to believe right now.
So on 5/25 is when Dylan ran into Chase with the desert and called me right after. He had no shoes on. Dylan wouldn't let him take his phone or give him a ride, but he did allow him to call his dad on speakerphone in Ogden, Utah.
Okay.
Dylan allowed Chase to, and then he gave him some coke, and then his dad called Dylan back, and Dylan sent the pin from his phone to where Chase was.
Okay.
So then we fast forward to 5/28, which was Saturday. Dylan was heard from in the morning. He talked to his grandma, and he was going to take the grain truck to the shed to put it in shelter because it was raining.
Okay.
So at this point, we assumed he was walking back across the desert to his camper because he didn't have a ride. So then 5:29, they continued to look for him. 5:30, we all got here to Dylan's last known location in Lucin, filed the police report, got search and rescue out. That's the night we found Dylan's boots about 400 yards from where his last known location was, tossed out behind a dirt pile, just out. That's when Kurt called me, and from local talk around and however it all got through the circle, we know that this Robert guy took Chase out to the desert where Dylan is the day Dylan went missing.
Okay.
Chase. That's as far as we know, and that's the day Dylan also went missing.
The same day he met Chase and...
the same day that Robert drove Chase out there in a little black car.
That day, not the day he met Chase.
Yeah.
That was when.
Where do we believe he's in Robert's house right now? Is that what we're thinking?
That's our speculation, and if he's not, we know this Robert guy knows what has happened to him or where he's been.
What does Dylan look like?
Oh, here.
Show him a picture. He's...
Anyway, Tom Hardy's the one who told me that Robert took Chase whatever his last name is, Venstra, took him out to, he's the one, he didn't even know Dylan was missing.
Okay.
So he just brought it up in a conversation, you know.
Yeah.
Because, you know, he knows we're always
how
keeping an eye out for Chase.
Yeah, so, he's always got some. He has warrants.
For us?
Chase does?
Oh, yeah.
Well, how come Stevens didn't pick him up last Tuesday?
Because he doesn't have. He doesn't have warrants out of Nevada.
Oh.
Yeah. Hey, so we're standing outside of the saddle store. Yeah, we're standing outside the saddle store as a group of people here, a bunch of family members. So the phone was pinged out here. They have reason to believe that Chase Venstra and that other gentleman, that he might be in the house. So we're waiting for you and then more backup before we go and approach that. Okay, cool. We'll be right here. All right, sorry. You'll see us. Right, so even the owner's out here. He's not in the building or of any sort. Their kid Dylan. They went and checked his campground. He's gone. They said supposedly Dylan's gone missing. They're concerned that if we go knock on the door and they have very strong belief that he's in there, they want to kind of take it up on their own, you know. So it's kind of. Oh, I have a picture of Dylan that they sent me. That's Dylan. So do we put out a missing here in Nevada now, or no?
If that's it's already in there. Yeah,
what about?
If you ever run them,
yeah.
Anytime you run them, they'll come up on his driver's license.
Okay, yeah, that's what they said.
I don't know if Chase still has his phone number. The phone he used last Tuesday.
Okay.
You guys were out here and Stevens had, you know, whatever. But I'm going to have that in just a second, and I'll...
Chase's phone number?
Chase's phone number, yeah.
If he'd even answer our phone. That dude might have skipped town. He jumps.
Yeah.
All around.
All over,
yep. All the way in Pilot Valley.
With this information, police would drive to Robert's home.
I don't know who that would be.
Okay.
I'm sorry, but I have no idea.
He's supposed to be hanging out with a guy named Chase.
And Robert.
Okay, I don't know. Chase might have an idea, but my son's been homesick. Okay. And he's been in bed all day, and he's been home all night. I don't know. I'm just wondering.
So who's all in your house?
Nobody.
Nobody's in there right now?
No. Nobody's here right now. Right. My son is in his trailer.
And where's that at?
In the backyard.
In the backyard?
Yeah. And he's sleeping because he was sick all night.
Okay.
And I'm just wondering
well,
what's happening.
we're just trying to find out where this kid is.
No one came home with him. So.
Nobody came home with him?
No.
Okay. Is Chase here?
No. I don't let Chase on my property after I found him inside my home when I was at home.
Do you know where Chase is staying at?
Somewhere out that way, I guess.
Like in the middle, like just like on in a field, living in a field in a camper. Is that what we're talking, or is it?
Yeah, I guess so. Just out past the railroad tracks somewhere out there.
Okay.
I don't know really. That's just what I hear. I have no freaking idea. I just want to know what's going on.
Yeah.
And why they keep chasing my son around.
Who's they?
Because the Wads one, some other guy pointed a gun in my freaking face.
When?
A couple months ago. And I told him to get the fuck out of here too. And I said, don't come over here. We're not at your house bugging you. You stay the fuck away from me. I don't want people bugging him. He just got out and he's having a hard time adjusting to the outside world. And no one's going to harass him. Okay. No one.
No.
I don't give a damn.
Yeah.
I understand that. We're not here to harass.
We're not here to harass.
We were told that there's possibly
a kidnapping.
Missing kid.
Oh, being here. Yeah, no.
Hostage,
you can feel free to look around.
Hostage
if
situation, like he's not being held. See, that's why we're here, ma'am. I mean,
we're not here to harass.
We're not here to harass. We got to report that somebody's being held hostage.
I thought it was about the car.
Oh, God.
No,
it's
not about a car.
Okay, the car. I know. I got to get it back. I will when I can get
to it. This is not about a car.
You can look around if you want to.
How long have you lived out here, ma'am?
All my life.
Have you?
Yes. I was born and raised in Wendover, and I've been there for a long time.
You've never been a problem because we don't even know you.
You
know?
But I'm just wondering, because it's like I had people chasing him around and all kinds of stuff. And I'm not going to let him harass him. And I'm sorry, my house is a wreck.
The search of the home was redacted to conceal private information of the Aviles, but nobody would be found inside of the home.
Because I am a junk collector. And so is my mom and my aunt and my sister and everyone. But this is it. Are you all right?
Yes.
So he's been sleeping all day.
Gotcha.
And all night. But sorry about the whole mess thing
no worries.
I've got going on, don't I?
Police would interview Robert in his trailer. The footage would be redacted due to the privacy of the Aviles' personal information once again. However, the interview would be recited to Jason and Candace shortly after.
So, he took Chase Venstra to Lucerne yesterday and dropped him off. They said there was a big tree there with like a pond or something where he dropped him off. He's saying that Chase's dad lives there in Lucerne.
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 That's where his son is.
That's where your son was?
Is Lucerne, yes.
Okay. And apparently that's where Chase's dad lives. That's where this guy dropped him off.
His dad lives in Ogden.
Ogden?
We know that.
Okay.
Well,
that's what he just told that guy that, probably, I'm sure. But he ended up, he said he did drop off.
The place where he was probably saying with the tree with the pond is where the search and rescue is the last tonight.
Yeah.
Today. Okay. Now,
I drove through there today.
Did he have any vehicles or anything like that? Your son?
Yeah, they left at his place.
Everything's accounted
his
for
guns
and
were
left.
left there. But the keys were out of his pickup, and his pickup was locked, and he never locks his pickup.
I don't believe it was yesterday. Because if he's admitting to taking them out there...
I think it's all a lie.
Yeah.
There was no fresh fire at that pit. There's no house at that water.
I don't know. Guys,
well, I appreciate you telling us.
Guy's been under the... I'm sure he's a...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he's using dope and whatnot, but...
It seems clear that Robert's story doesn't quite make sense, and it paints Chase out to look awfully suspicious. But it still doesn't lead to any clear answers, and the list of potential suspects only continues to increase. James had Dylan's truck and boots on his property. Kurt was living with Dylan and is allegedly known to groom children. Chase was with Dylan the day of the disappearance, and his story seems to be filled with lies. Nothing makes sense. Over 9 days would go by from the recording without any further leads. Chase would be arrested for his previous warrants. However, upon questioning, no further evidence would present itself to prove Chase responsible for Dylan's disappearance.
He said that as far as he knows, Chase Venstra is no longer a person of interest in Dylan Brown's disappearance. And that came rather as a shock.
With such a strange case looming in their tiny town, the search for Dylan began spreading across Utah, so much so that hundreds of residents began searching for Dylan themselves or looking for any clues to help law enforcement. And on June 10th, the first major lead would be found, a strange pair of pants that may be correlated to Dylan in some way.
Coming from Wendover to come out, just be around. We're meeting some guys that live in Wendover, have some property in Montello. We had some ideas of some mine shafts up there. We were going to search and a few things. Okay. So we met at the gravel pond. We're starting to come this way. Me and my buddy Justin Palmer, that's the guy that followed Troy. So we met up with them, come down here. Some other guys from Rigby, where we're from, were meeting us at a gravel pile by the pile of road. I don't even know the road, whatever. My buddy said it was a turnout. But as we were coming, the guy saw these pants. We all rushed back here. I took some pictures, sent them to chauffeur. Everybody was telling everybody not to touch them, but we got a hammer to see if it was the size of Dylan, and it's not. It's a bigger size of pants. And I texted Brian that. Okay. The crotch is blown out. Nobody touched it. We just used the claws of that to kind of look, you know what I mean? So that's where we are.
So we're going to get you a witness statement form to fill out. And then we only have one shot, right? So we'll have you fill out the witness statement.
Unfortunately, the pants would be confirmed to not belong to Dylan. Again, the search for Dylan only led to dead ends.
Oh, goodness.
This is Donald Hatley, the neighbor of James Brenner. Don informed the police that he had information that could potentially help crack the case. In this interview, Don refers to James as Jim.
Right. I'll tell you something. Okay. And I really don't think it has anything to do with anything. You guys found ammunition and stuff in trucks. Yeah. And he's a black powder enthusiast. Yeah. But he figured that would be a reason to poke him, so to speak, say whatever. So he brought his black powder rifles into my place. Okay. Thank you. I appreciate that. Where are those? I put one behind my bed, in my bedroom, the other one's leaned up in the corner next to the table on the couch. When did you bring them? After Dylan. Oh yeah, definitely after.
Just the muzzle loader, or is there any other firearms?
All he's got was those black powder guns, rifles, 6-gun. That's the last time I seen him wearing that 6-gun was 2 years ago. Just thought he had to get it out of there. Why? Basically safety. That's what he told me. Last time, they had him in holding for over a year, and when he got out, everything he had was gone. Everything. And, if you ever look through Jim's phone, I'm sure you guys already did, but, he looks at all these old gun sites and stuff and works on, or likes working on stuff. That's one of his things, all the old stuff.
Okay.
Was it just you and Jim that were at the barbecue? Was there anybody else that was over there?
Just us. Don't know anybody else except Dylan and Kurt, really. Dylan used to come over for dinner about every Sunday when he was down here. Not so much this year. Busy. Times would be a lot.
So, I can't ask you what's going through Jim's head at that time, but what's going through yours when he brings you his rifles and a 6-gun?
Honestly, it looked like he was scared that, he was going to be detained for 6 months or a year and lose everything he had. He said, no, I'll never see my dog again. She's old. And he had no idea what happened to his horses last time.
Okay.
All his gun, everything he owned disappeared.
So why do you think he's going to get detained, or why does he think he's going to get detained for 6 months?
Well, he doesn't. He just realizes that it's a possibility because it happened in the past. Just because he's a felon and he could be held.
Yeah. So he knows he's a felon. He knows he shouldn't have them. So he.
Well, no, I don't know.
You don't know.
According to him, a black powder primitive weapon is not considered a firearm. Okay. Now, if he brought me a firearm, I'd have said no. But
black powder.
Black powder, it's not a firearm. It's allowed to have it as far as I know.
Okay. So sometime after, Dylan, do you remember how long after? I mean, it's only been 3 weeks now.
That seems like forever. I wish that kid had just come walking down the road so I could kick his butt.
I wish too. But the longer this goes, the less likely that looks.
Yeah. Roll into the case, but you're telling me that Dylan was there before 3 o'clock. That's like,
well, I'm trying to be honest with you. I'm trying to tell you the information that I can.
My whole social world just fell apart here. I don't.
Well, one's gone, and now.
Yeah.
You don't know what to think about the other.
Exactly, and if he's lying to me and you guys,
would he tell you if he did something?
No, I don't know. This is so flipping frustrating. If he had something to do with that, my whole world is closed upside down for now. That was just.
Well, we're trying to figure it out. Okay. Again, I really do appreciate you taking time. I know you got work to do, and I imagine we'll be in contact at some point about something or other. Okay.
Finally, police had answers. James brought multiple weapons to Don's house right after Dylan mysteriously disappeared. In the span of a few hours, James had become the lead suspect to Dylan Round's disappearance. Don would hand all 3 guns over to deputies, and a search of James's trailer would reveal ammunition, powder, and caps that matched all 3 guns. After police reviewed James's criminal history, they found several firearm-related charges, including possession by a restricted person, unlawful transport of firearms, assault with intent to murder, and malicious shooting. This allowed police to arrest James on those charges and hold him without bail. And just days later, police would discover something terrifying. Upon draining a pond near James's trailer, they would find a cracked cell phone. And when they revealed the files on the phone, they would finally have their answer. At 7:27 a.m. on May 28th, the same day as Dylan's disappearance, a time-lapse recording was made on the phone. In this time-lapse, James could be seen cleaning bloodied weapons and having multiple bloodstains on his clothing. This was just 30 minutes after Dylan's last text message. It was clear James was a cold-blooded killer. And now, police had all the evidence they could ever need to charge him with the murders. Whether James was recording this to boast his killing of Dylan or by pure accident is something we'll never know. Upon questioning, though, James stated that he was angry Dylan had parked in the shed that day. That's it. Just mad. Upon interrogating Chase Venstra and Donald Hatley, it was determined that they had no involvement in the murder of Dylan Rounds and were released. As for James, he would plead guilty to the murder, and over 2 years later, James would bring police to Dylan's remains. Following this discovery, James Brenner was sentenced to up to 30 years in prison.